So Cam Newton has officially been released by the Carolina Panthers after 9 seasons as their starting quarterback, capped off by a handful of injuries that have managed to keep him off the gridiron as of late. However, Cam isn't done in the NFL. Not at all. Cam still wants to play in the NFL, but he's going to have to start by finding a new home. So today I thought it would be fun to talk about the teams that I could see Cam possibly suiting up for in the upcoming NFL season. But before we start, I want to go ahead and quickly take some time to thank you so much for your incredible support as of late. I'm so grateful, and you really don't understand how much your support means to me. I also want to go and quickly mention that only a small percentage of the people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, so if you do end up enjoying this video and haven't done so already, please do consider subscribing to keep up with everything going on in the NFL right now. Without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so there are 4 teams that I could really see Cam Newton joining in the offseason, starting with the Washington Redskins. Now, simply put, Cam is well connected to the Redskins organization with their addition of Ron Rivera in the offseason following his departure from the Carolina Panthers. Honestly, I think that Ron Rivera and Cam Newton both feel slighted by the Panthers organization, as they should, and that could be a general point of unity for the two of them. Ron Rivera was fired and Cam Newton was cut by the Panthers when you could really argue that neither of them were the main issue in Carolina. Now, there is an issue with the idea of Cam going to the Redskins, and that is the fact that they spent a pretty penny in last year's draft taking Ohio State quarterback Dwayne Haskins in the first round of the draft. However, I don't think that this is a big issue like many think it is. Dwayne Haskins had a rough rookie year, which doesn't mean he's a bust by any means, but it goes to show how he simply isn't ready as of yet. I think Haskins has what it takes to be a starting quarterback, but he needs some time to develop behind a veteran. And the fact that Cam is a veteran provides incentive to bring him in. Not only is he well connected with Ron Rivera, he also is that veteran presence that could help Haskins adjust to the NFL level, similar to how Alex Smith helped Patrick Mahomes a few years ago adjust and iron out his game for the NFL. If I were the Washington Redskins, I'd bring Cam in for a year, have him work with Dwayne Haskins in an effort to help Haskins grow and iron out his game as a player, and then move forward with Haskins in the following year. However, they did just bring Kyle Allen in, which I think lessened the chance of Cam going to the Redskins. I still think it's possible, but there's a lot of moving pieces that have to align, and we'll just have to see. Moving on, we have the LA Chargers, who during the offseason let their quarterback of 14 years, Phillip Rivers, walk. Now, they still do have Tyrod Taylor on their roster, who I feel really bad for because he's a solid talent that really over the years has been tossed to the wayside. But who's to say that they wouldn't bring Cam Newton in even with Tyrod Taylor on their roster? I mean, rumors were swirling prior to the Panthers cutting Cam when they were still looking to trade him that the Chargers had actually called and were very interested in Cam Newton. Now, a trade never got done, but I'd argue that Cam should be more enticing now simply because they don't have to give anything up to get him as far as picks go or players or anything like that. They can sign him whenever they want to because he's a free agent. On top of that, a quarterback battle between Tyrod Taylor and Cam Newton would not only be very, very interesting, but it would be incredible for the organization because you'd walk into the next season confident knowing that you've exhausted all of your resources to get the best possible quarterback for your organization moving forward. And hell, it looks like Newton and Taylor are already preparing to battle it out in LA because they were working out together recently and they also have the same quarterback coach. The best part is, though, even if you bring Cam Newton in, you can still draft a quarterback. And if anything, I'd be more inclined to draft a quarterback in this year's draft if I had Cam on my roster. Say the Chargers bring in Jordan Love. Cam could provide that essential veteran presence to Love and help him develop and iron out his game, which would benefit the Chargers in the long run. Next up, we have the Miami Dolphins. Now, this is going to confuse a few people because they already have Ryan Fitzpatrick, and last I checked, they also have Josh Rosen, who I absolutely have to do a video on in the future because his story thus far has been nothing short of a tragedy. And on top of that, they're most likely leaving the draft with Tua Tagovailoa. I think that Cam would be a great fit in Miami regardless, though, because he would be a better presence for Tua. Now, a lot of these fits on this list aren't long-term fits and are more fits that put Cam in that veteran mentor role for a year or so and then would see him hitting free agency again and hopefully finding a long-term fit that time around. Back to my point, though, I don't think that Cam and Tua have an incredibly similar play style, but The thing is, their playstyles are more similar than Tua and Fitzpatrick's playstyles are, and I'd also argue that Cam is just a better quarterback overall than Fitzpatrick, and I think that he'd be great for Tua moving forward. Maybe they bring Cam in, ship Rosen out, and then draft Tua, and then have Cam and Fitzpatrick compete for the starting job while keeping Tua on the bench for around a year or so. Ultimately, I think that Cam would be great for Tua, but honestly, this is probably the least likely scenario simply because they already have Fitzpatrick, who, as up and down as he may be, is still that veteran presence. And lastly, we have the New England Patriots, and this is probably the most interesting destination for Cam, seeing as he'd be paired with Bill Belichick, and I think it would be really, really fun to see what Belichick would do with a quarterback like Cam and of Cam's skill set. But the issue with this fit is the fact that the Patriots don't seem all too interested in bringing in another quarterback, as they already have 3 quarterbacks on their roster who they want to fight for that starting job. However, of the 3 quarterbacks they have, I think the only half-decent one is Jarrett Stidham, and I mean, look, Stidham already beat out Kessler, and Hoyer is going into his 11th year having never started a full 16 games, and has proven that he's basically just a career backup. Stidham has all the potential in the world to be a great starter, and there's no doubt in my mind he's going to beat out Hoyer and Kessler. Maybe they're looking to boost Stidham's self-confidence or something heading into the regular season, and maybe beating out an 11-year veteran would do that. It doesn't make much sense, and I doubt there's any chance that he loses this quarterback battle, just simply because Hoyer and Kessler aren't good. I have a ton of confidence in Stidham, and I think he's a starter, but going back to my point, maybe Belichick just doesn't see Stidham the same way I do just yet. We know that he likes Stidham, don't get me wrong, but maybe he doesn't think Stidham is ready just yet and could benefit from another year on the bench behind another veteran. If that's the case, then I wouldn't sit him behind Hoyer. I'd bring Cam in and I'd have him learn behind Cam. Again, it would be fun to watch Belichick work with a quarterback of the skill set that Cam has, and I think it would be more of a win-win for both parties. Stidham could develop even more and the Patriots' future would be great, and Belichick could help Cam raise his stock and hopefully find a forever home in the following year's free agency. Again, all of these teams that I mentioned on this list are not forever homes, and that's simply because the Panthers did Cam dirty. I'm sorry, but of all the teams in the market right now, there really isn't a forever home for Cam. If the Panthers had released him earlier than they did, he may have found a forever home, but they failed him in that regard, and it's really sad that they did that to their quarterback of 9 years, after all he's done for them. At the end of the day, of all the teams on this list, I think the Chargers make the most sense, but really, man, it sucks that Cam's career has been derailed by injury, and thanks to the Panthers, he's been put in between a rock and a hard place. But if anyone can make it out, it's Super Cam.